Alrighty, guys. So important week ahead. Obviously, we had the big rejection last week of the 49,000, and we came all the way down to 40,000. And what we are doing at the moment is now we're paying attention to the weekly close this week, which is super important to see, are we going to hold 40,000? If we hold 40,000, there's still a possibility of more upside in the market before a big correction. I think that's the big question. Are we going to go down to the low 30s? Is the whole Bitcoin narrative over at the moment? And the way it works with TAs, we sit with the charts every day. We just make sure that we hold levels. If we hold levels, it shows you to not care about emotions, pay attention to where we're at. There is still a possibility for another push to the upside. So right now we are sitting through a range between $40,000 and $50,000 with Bitcoin. And today I'm going to be speaking about, how we could stay in that range and how altcoins could still absolutely fly. We still have the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart holding the breakout of the major trend line, which is up to a 2-year trend line to the downside. We had the Ethereum to Bitcoin still holding that trend, and we are waiting to see, are we going to have that strong extension to the upside? And that will therefore bring down the dominance. So yes, sometimes you go through the boringness, and I know the boringness is painful. It is painful. But again, it's the preparation of either big scenarios going to play out and also know when to fish when no one else is fishing. Plus, I got Kyle in the house bringing some alpha today. We're going to be speaking about the bull market. We're going to speak about the next massive altcoin opportunities. We're going to speak about paid. There's many things to chat about. I'm very happy to have this man on here. I'm happy that we are starting our shows together and starting an incredible relationship. But guys, no more wasting time. Let's go. Happy Friday to you all. Let's go, baby. Alrighty, guys, as I said, happy Friday to you all. If you're brand new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and hit the like button if you enjoy the content. Now, guys, today we're going to go through many different altcoins and pop in the comments below any altcoins we missed, right? The more that we can get help from you guys will help us a lot. We have 10,000, how many coins is in the crypto market now? 20,000 coins out there. Help us find the gems. Together, we are a very strong community, guys. Remember, there are a few things as well with the channel. We obviously got Ban to Bubbles. Get Ban to Bubbles. If the markets move this weekend, you want to see what has strength. You want to see what is looking weak. You definitely want to use this tool to identify which tokens are going to move next. So whenever you see Bitcoins at a big support, as where we are right now, and there's a bounce from Bitcoin, what is performing better than Bitcoin? And remember, if you go to the top right corner over here and you click on the settings button, you can look at everything compared to Bitcoin and not USDT. And that will start to get you into the concept and the idea that in this entire bull market, you don't actually want to exit the market, right? You want to just be moving to strength. There's a time where you're going to be fully in Bitcoin or a lot in Bitcoin, and there's a time to diversify into altcoins. And therefore, you find altcoins that can outperform Bitcoin. You're ultimately making more Bitcoin. And that's the ultimate goal, guys. You've got 21 million Bitcoin out there. How many of them can you make? And you don't always have to keep putting money in. You can just start playing the market nice and smart. And remember, we also have Sniper School. We have the main event starting in 4 days on Tuesday. Tuesday is the main event. You still got a little bit more time. If you're not verified, finish your verification to get the school for free and do not miss on education at all. Okay, so I got a very important guest over here. We got Kyle in the house. How you, bro?
What's up, bro? How's it going, man? Very good.
What's up, dude? Nice to see you. I'm so glad it's our first ever stream. I do have a question to ask you, though, Kyle. Yeah. I got a question. Who's this guy?
Oh.
Do you know that guy? Who's that guy? Who's that guy, bro? Absolutely incredible guy. Obviously, we met in Thailand. We first met in Singapore at Token 2049 last year, and then I had the bachelor's. in Thailand, and you were very kind to meet us, take us out. We obviously went to the jet skis. We had a really good time. I've said it to you off camera. I'll say it again, bro. What you did for my friends, what you did for me, meant a lot to me, bro. And I got to learn you as a person. It was really nice to see your heart and see where you're at. And therefore, that's why I'm excited for us to do some great things together. And here's just a little thing where you can just see the smile on my best friends' faces of what you provided for us that day. And I'm forever grateful for that, brother. So I just want to say thank you, brother, my heart. You're an awesome person, and I'm excited for us to do some incredible content together. How you doing, bro? How's your first 2-3 weeks of 2024 been?
Good, man. And just real quick too, before we move on back to the crypto, I was just telling people that it was so nice to see your friends, because I've been heavy in this industry for like 12 years, and I don't really have much of a social life outside of it. Like it's like every time I do go to an event or do anything, it's work related. So I might go to an event, a side party, whatever, but like it's always for work, right? And you guys came in, and the nice thing is that you didn't bring anyone that was just like, I mean, you brought your friends from the childhood, the OG homies, and while some of them were in crypto, it was far from the main topic that we talked about, and sometimes I hang around people like that once in a while, but usually I'm not very interested, and usually they don't feel like friends right away. And I think what made it so special, and I'm glad I met up with you guys the second day as well, is like you guys made me feel like I was part of the crew from literally like the first minute that I met all your friends. It was absolutely unbelievable. Really good people, man. Really, really good people. So it was special for me too, man. I'm not just hosting you guys, but for me, it was I did get that ability to go, and it felt like high school again, like in a way of just the boys,
Bro, I saw you loosen those hips. I saw you came into the club, and you got your first drink, and then we started going, bro. Dude, it was so good. And again, it's sorry, bro. Now you've joined the friend group. You can't get out. Like these guys. Now you're in, bro. Now we're in, and now we do incredible things. But I think for us both, I think it's hard to switch off in this space, especially as content creators, especially as owners of businesses. We sort of get trapped a little bit in this world, and I think it was just nice for us to let our hair down a bit and have fun. And I think that's a very big message we can start off with over here. Is guys, enjoy this market right now. Don't take it too serious. It's very important. Seriousness creates a big uptrend in emotions, and therefore you're not thinking clear. So a big thing of this part is you cannot control the market day to day. We can't control if there's a fake tweet on ETF that comes out and creates a crazy wick. We can't control these things. And that's why you just got to look at every day and, as a non-emotional plate, and just play the market as it is and don't take it too personal. A lot of people think the market's out to get them and all these sort of things. What is your thoughts on that, bro? And controlling your emotions with the market, and what has been obviously your experiences with this? Like, were you a very much emotional person in the beginning? Like, how's that evolved over time? I don't see. What is that? Are they drilling there by you?
It's on my end. Yeah. Let me just turn the mic down a little bit so get less background.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think that's important to discuss, like how early we are in this cycle. So it was only maybe a few months ago when we I think we all came to consensus that we were out of a bear market, right? And so then looking ahead, we still have probably a good solid 18 months of a bull market, and it really only becomes the last like 9 months when it starts to feel very, very frothy. So I think a lot of people, especially like I'm guilty of this too on my channel, like promising or not promising, but like talking about how this cycle will change people's lives, and it definitely can and definitely will if people play their cards right. And I think like people like you and myself are here to try to help these people and help ourselves at the same time. But it's early still right now, so it's very early, and we haven't even come close to all-time highs yet for Bitcoin and the rest of the market. And so I think that it can be discouraging. A lot of people thought that, we saw like this really awesome run up to the ETF announcement, right? And now now we have this retracement, and people's portfolios maybe went down a little bit. It could be discouraging. And I think that, from what I've seen, just there's been a little bit of a lack of interest the past week or so in the market. And I think that this is a good time for people to really take the time to learn. When things aren't popping off, it's positioning, it's like where is going to be the next narrative, and that's kind of what we look for a lot, is try to figure out what kind of narratives are evolving so we can get ahead of them. So when the markets do pop off, we get to ride that wave up.
No, exactly. And obviously for me, the bull market started the moment we got through this range over here, back into support, which is obviously around the 32,000. We have not tested that yet, and I think that's a slight concern right now. I think people are ready to deploy, but we obviously got to pay attention to where this could go next. And obviously what also happened over the whole of 2023 was a massive rally within the dominance. Me myself, I know a lot of this was ETF driven, but I am actually kind of happy that we're there now, right? We're there, and we haven't seen real alt season or real altcoin pushes just yet. And I kind of think right now all that we are doing is just a cool down in Bitcoin, and I think this will give us the opportunity at some point for the altcoins to start catching up. I feel like altcoins are still quite far down from it at the moment. And I like what you said about, this is the time to educate. What was the biggest moment for you as well? Like we guys that have joined this market, right? We've been through a cycle before, these sort of things. And we made a lot of those mistakes as well. And I think it's just the urgency behind, guys, this is firstly, again, non-emotions in the market, but learn these skills now. When the market gets flat like this, do not lose interest. I think that's the big thing. People just fly off. And I actually asked on a poll 2 days ago on the show, I said, who's buying here? No one. And a week before, they were piling in at 49,000. Like, what's the psychology behind it? And how can someone just prevent, they need to understand it's a game, right? You got to play the game. You got to understand that when the news comes out, it will hype everyone. It will get everyone to buy late. It's a part of the game. And how can people not fall for that trap?
Well, I think that, so I did a show on this last night, and if anyone wants to go watch it, they should, because it gives you an idea, it gives you a perspective, even though we had a bit of a correction in Bitcoin, which caused the markets to slow down a bit, and now people have uncertainty, there's actually a lot going on, right? And so we have massive flows and massive volume happening in the Bitcoin world every single day. But to sum it up real quick, the reason that we had this price correction was because you had essentially a lot of people making a play from essentially when the GBDC discount was at 65%, especially when they had the BlackRock announcement that it was going to file for an ETF. At that time, there was like a 50% discount on GBDC. So anybody who wanted to make a bet, make a play, could have bought Bitcoin at that time for like $12,500. And they're not orange pilled necessarily. They saw a good play, just like any other trader. They saw an opportunity on the table and they took it. And there probably was billions of dollars that were riding that bet. And then the second that the GBDC trust was converted into an ETF, for the first time ever, these people had the ability to then liquidate their positions and take profits. So that's what's happening.
Like a 3x, right? That's like a 4x.
4x. Wow. 3.5, 4x. I mean, if you're a 𝗕𝗘𝗗𝗑, man, that is one. I mean, your whole family is going on vacation after that. That's one hell of a play. But there's actually massive inflows happening on the rest of the filers, right? So we're seeing almost, I think, 9 times as many Bitcoin being bought up on inflows every day from the other filers than we have minted, right? So something like 7,000 Bitcoin being bought up on average every single day. And there's only 900 being minted every day. And in April, around 420, that's going to cut down to just 450 Bitcoin every day. So when people aren't buying right now, that's the thing, is you should understand the underlying markets, what's going on, what's really happening. If you're just looking at a chart, just looking at CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap, it seems like interest is gone. It seems like institutional buy pressure is not there, but man, it's there. I mean, that's huge. I mean, BlackRock already has, I don't know, something like 15,000 Bitcoin. Last official number was 11,500, but they're just every single day swooping up. Salespeople are on the calls, making calls every day, and we have massive inflows coming. So the second that the GBDC trade is over, and I don't know how much they're going to sell each day. I don't know how long this is going to last. It could last another few days. It could last another couple of weeks. But the second that we have those outflows being, that they kind of stop, because not everybody's going to sell off. A lot of people are still going to hold. They realize, hey, bull market's here. Some people are in for the trade. Some people are for long haul. But when that outflow stops, it's going to be massive, massive, massive buy pressure every single day. And it's going to be consistent buy pressure. And so on the Bitcoin charts, we're going to see consistent buy pressure upward almost every single day. There will be profit taking along the way, but massive buy pressure, much more than retail could do on our own. And then that will flow into alts, right? And so we will see a massive alt season. And my bet is that this bull run is more parabolic than 2021. Maybe it's more similar to 2017. Maybe it is even crazier than 2017. So I think today we'll talk about.
Do you think these guys, do you think they fussy with the price, or do you think it's just the consistency of buy every day? Because for me, it's like the question is Bitcoin going to range? You know, is it gonna range a little bit, chill out here for you know, a couple of months, maybe let them accumulate? Because like they kind of, if they want to keep buying in this range, they kind of want to keep it on the down, not on the down low, but they kind of don't want too much hype on Bitcoin, right? They don't want too much hype coin. They want it to sort of sit flat. People lose a bit of interest. They can accumulate and then obviously start the expansion. Like, are these guys smart investors when it comes to where they're buying Bitcoin, or is it just the consistency now of loading up?
There's two different ways to look at this, and there's two different things at play here. One of them is inflows, and that's completely different than people trading ETF on NASDAQ, right? So you've got institutions who are actually price sensitive, looking at making trades on Bitcoin, on NASDAQ, so, or CBOE or whatever. But then you have inflows, which is consistent buy pressure, and they don't care about price on that, because that's really long-term positioning, so that you have all these, you know, that's like someone diversifying portfolio, you know, the registered financial advisor calling up their client and saying, hey, you might have heard, or maybe you didn't hear, because a lot of people didn't care about Bitcoin before, and they're really now just going to get exposure to it and the opportunity to present it to them for the first time ever from their BlackRock financial advisor or whatever. And so for them, it's like, hey, do you want to position some of your portfolio into Bitcoin? It's not really a matter of the price is great right now. I mean, that if I was a salesperson, which I've been in my past, I would use that as part of my sales pitch right now. Like, hey, the halving's coming. It's going to go up in price, blah, blah, blah. But I think for a lot of people, it's more about, this is a long-term evolving asset that's going to appreciate.
How much Bitcoin can we get? Like, it's not even about price anymore. It's about how much Bitcoin you can get, right? And
that's another thing too, is you're right there. So for the institutions, they don't care about the price. They want to accumulate as much in under their AUM, their assets under management, because they charge management fees, and management fees are where money is made. And you see that all of these 12 issuers have fee wars. So these fees are lower than, like, when you look at like 20 basis points or no fees for the first 6 months or whatever. That means that they're banking on getting tens of billions of dollars at a minimum in order for it to make it worth their while for all the money they spent on legal fees, efforts, commissions. So I think this is a long-term play, which is really, really good for our industry. And that's just America. You know, we've got the rest of the world coming in soon too. We see that usually US leads with everything, and then the rest of the world follows on. So now we start to see, like, Germany. I saw a post the other day. Germany's going to start talking about it. I already know the Middle East is talking about ETFs. I know that Hong Kong and China are talking about ETFs. So, but to your question about ranging sideways for a while, we also know that we have the halving in 93 days or whatever. So,
well, let's speak about it quickly. I'm just going to bring up the chart here. So obviously we rallied from the around 16K all the way to 45K over the last 12 to 18 months. I personally think, obviously I'm a chartist, I do think in order for Ethereum to get going and altcoins to get going, we do need a little bit of a chill from Bitcoin, because the more that it hogs the light, the less, we're not getting too much diversification into alts. We've obviously seen the Solana pumps, we've seen Thorchain pumps, we've seen a bunch of coins pump, but we haven't seen the true alt season of what we've seen before. And that's good spotlights purely on. So I'm thinking a little bit of range to get Ethereum up there, get Ethereum to 3K, and then Bitcoin coils up and obviously chases the big daddy play. How does your 2024 look for Bitcoin price-wise? What do you think plays out? What's your thoughts on it?
Well, I think so there was something that I said before, when people were wondering if the Bitcoin ETF was priced in. So for all of us in the PvP environments, right? The crypto, in the crypto versus crypto environment. So all of us retail, we priced in the Bitcoin ETF. We everyone, by the time it was actually announced, we all knew it was coming, and we bought to where we were comfortable buying, and then we were done after that. So right now, I think we're going to have a similar thing where we like in crypto, and we like to look forward to an event, right? We look forward to seeing WIF get listed on Binance, for example, and then when it does, inevitably comes crashing down. And that play is over right now with Bitcoin. So right now it's Bitcoin's time to slowly accumulate. It'll be an accumulation range on the institutional side. You're going to see it trending sideways because of the GBTC outflows, but it's an accumulation range. But I think us and this PvP environment, still, you don't have ETH in the institutional realm yet. So we're still going to see ETH push up from all of us who are looking for the next play. And obviously the ETH layer 2s and ETH is coming back as a narrative. And so I think that's what's going to happen. I think that we're going to see ETH versus BTC still continue to range in dominance, because there's no really place for that ETH inflows from ETFs to come in yet. So
what actually happened there? So obviously everyone was like super focused on the Bitcoin, on the ETF. I know this was a week or two ago, but it is important to see the change of direction of money, right? How money flows. Like all of a sudden, the whole ETF with Bitcoin happened. We had the fake tweet come out, and we saw an Ethereum spike. Quite a strong weekly. Like what happened there? Well, why all of a sudden did it's all eyes on Bitcoin, but all of a sudden here comes ETH and prints a pretty badass weekly candle.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of hoping that this can be the start for ETH. It's been a while. We've obviously been trending down and being sucked dry to Bitcoin for a long period, but this is good early signs of possible ETH season coming. And like you say, a lot of alts on ETH and things like that. But why is everyone now looking at ETH ETF next? Like,
yeah, the funny thing is that just before we got the ETH kind of appreciation, everyone thought ETH was dead, right? Like Ran was talking about it a lot. Everybody, the whole crypto Twitter timeline was talking about that ETH was dead, and Solana was going to absolutely dominate. And I still think Solana is going to do extremely well. You even saw Franklin Templeton come out yesterday talking about their support for Solana and how they get it, literally naming Anatoly. Very big, very big. And but the main point is that people, if your price goes up, your tech is great. If your price goes down, your tech sucks. This is how we think in crypto. But essentially, this is a big deal. Ethereum is the only clear altcoin the only clear other crypto besides Bitcoin that we have a reasonable, like there could be a reasonable argument made of why spot ETF will be approved this year. The rest of them, you can't argue that. There's no Solana futures on CBOE, for example, right? There's no Chainlink futures. And so similar logic can't be made in court. And I think right now, when you look at the guys from Bloomberg Intelligence, like Eric and James, right now they can only speculate on ETH being approved. And I think right now it's a 70%, 75% approval chance. So it gives us something to look forward to. It's the same thing as we're all watching Bonk climb up and getting listed on different things and trading volume increasing, anticipation of the Binance listing. It's the same thing that we're getting right now with ETH. And so, but you also have good technology being developed, right? And so I think that, I'm looking at CoinGecko right now. I'm looking on the homepage, and like account abstraction is one of the main topics that says it's trending. And that's removing these complexities. I talked about on my show last night too, this altcoin called Connects. And essentially what they're doing is creating a X ERC20 standard where all ERC20s can essentially work cross-chain without having to bridge at all, ever, right? So that you just bridge once into XERC20,
wow.
and also one wallet, like so MetaMask or Rabi or whatever, you can hold these XERC20s, and you can use them on any chain without having to think about what chain you're using. And also they're talking about chain abstraction, meaning that I can build Paid Network or Commonwealth or whatever using their protocol, and people will never have to think about, and the paid token, for example, could be on an ERC20 standard, and people will never have to think about switching RPC, switching networks, even having native gas for any of these chains. So it removes a lot of the complexities of having to be, chain tribalism, for example. And so EVM, the future of EVM and Ethereum ecosystem becomes almost one cohesive ecosystem versus this chain versus that chain versus this EVM versus that EVM, which I think when you start putting it in the cheap and fast category with Solana, it stands up against Solana for cheap and fast and convenient, because right now it's kind of a headache to bridge.
That's always been the topic, right? That's always been the topic: the cheapness, the fastness, all these sort of things. Very interesting. Yeah, go for it.
Cheap. I was just gonna say, cheap and fast is great. I mean, we're all used to normal apps, right? Where we don't have to we don't have to wait for blocks to process. And so, like for me, you know, even though I watched a bunch of tech reviews on if I should upgrade my MacBook Pro M1 Max, and they said there's not a huge difference between the M3 Max, I still have like 500 tabs open, and even the M1 Max couldn't handle that. And so I still was getting lag, and I was like, fuck this, I'm getting the M3 Max maxed out, because I don't even like to wait for a few seconds for things to happen. You know what I mean?
That's so true. Yeah.
And especially with attention span, younger generation, like we like cheap and fast. So it has to be cheap and fast. And you know, sometimes as a VC, I talk to new projects coming, and they're building some super secure thing, like a layer 1 or layer 2, and it's not fast. And I'm just thinking, but it's secure, decentralized. I'm thinking, man, you're gonna have a hard time competing if it's not fast, because people like a good UX, you know. And so,
interesting, bro. So just jumping on that quickly. So I obviously want to deep dive, jump into a couple of altcoins now. Just a quick one from your head right now. First thing, where do you think Bitcoin can get to 100K this year? Firstly, where do you think Bitcoin can get? Do you think an all-time high happens this year? And where do you think ETH sits with that? So let's say Bitcoin does go 70K. Where do you think ETH is at that time? Like, what is do you still think ETH will outperform Bitcoin this bull cycle? That's a thought.
So ETH's been lagging a lot, right? Like overall. So I think that we're going to see.
Where do you think Bitcoin first? First. So, what do you think?
I think Bitcoin will definitely get to 100,000 this year. I think that once, you know, because even it's not just us retail folk who have FOMO. You know, it's institutions and Wall Street degens also have FOMO. So it's just that play of like, it's the same way that the snowball starts with, if you look at like Bonk or whatever, and you know how when I first started covering it, the daily volume was like 25 million, whatever. And then I remember a week later, the daily volume was 140 million. And then a week later I covered it, the daily volume was like
it happens fast.
Quarter billion. And so when we start to see, Bitcoin break like 50K, that's when people are going to realize that it's like, we got a lot of momentum here. That snowball is going to start. And then we'll probably get a little bit of resistance around all-time highs. But I think that it's only January, and it's only January in the half. So I think that we're going to get, I think we'll go to all-time highs around, it'll be the start of the post-halving rally, in my opinion. So maybe May, June, we're already at all-time highs. I think that by...
Yeah, it kind of feels Bitcoin will sit flat just a little bit now, but it feels when the halving comes closer, the narrative's back, right? The hype's back, everyone's back. And me personally, I think there's more resistance at 50K than all-time high. Because what they always say is there's always a wall before that. Once you get there, there's always, everyone thinks there'll be resistance at all-time high. I think the 50K, we get through that. I think there's so much hype and natural flow in the markets that I think we'll pop it. And it was the same thing in 2021, right? When we broke 2020, when we broke the highs of the 20K, we all thought it would reject hard. And it was like 2 weeks that it sat there and gone. And we never saw it again for a long period. Quick one. I do want to jump into a few alts. Ethereum. If Bitcoin's 100K, where's Ethereum? What's your thoughts?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's 7,000. You know, that's a wild guess. I haven't put much thought into it. I do think that if you look at, I do think that's in this bull run. I'm a bit more optimistic than most people on how this market's going to go. So I think because we're going to have constant inflows, we're going to see less volatility within Bitcoin. You know, whereas in 2017 bull run, it wasn't uncommon to get 38-40% pullback. 2021, you know, 25 to 30% pullback, and people are looking for that 30% pullback again. I think that we got our first like pullback from 48.5 or whatever it was recently until 40, like you just said. and now time for this next move up, and then we'll get another. Maybe this run is more 15-20% pullbacks is more commonplace. But I think that we're going, but in 2025 we're going to top out somewhere in the $500,000, $350,000 to $500,000 range for Bitcoin.
That would be insane, bro.
That'd be insane.
Like, you can't say we're not still early, and the opportunities for people out there to really make a change for them. Like, if we go anywhere to there, guys, come on. Like, this is a brand new. But to jump to the next topic, you'll be talking a lot about this coin. Me too. I'm very much bullish on it too. What's your thought? Why? Just in a quick summary, are you very bullish on Chainlink? And where do you think we can break all-time highs? That's one of the first questions. And if you look at market cap wise, where do you think this thing could be valued, and why Chainlink? What's your thoughts there?
So Chainlink is interesting because they've been going for a very long time, right? So Sergey, is an OG and has been trying to solve this problem, and the name itself literally describes what the purpose of it is. It is to interconnect all private and public blockchains. One of the things that I think people were questioning it before was like, a lot of people think there's going to be a lot of people think there's going to be maybe 3 to 5 main blockchains, but actually there's going to be thousands of blockchains. We already see things like, like the Celestia narrative where everyone's spinning up their own app chains. There's going to be tons and tons and tons of blockchains, both private and public, right? You see like even Jamie Dimon, from JP Morgan talking about blockchain as he believes in blockchain, right? But like not Bitcoin and like our industry. But nonetheless, somebody needs to be able to connect these public and private chains and be able to connect all the public chains and private chains and everything else. So far, the leader in that is Chainlink, way ahead of everybody else. Why? Because they've been working with people like Swift and DTCC and other major financial like these rails that value flows on. And for a long time, people were talking about how Swift could possibly be disrupted by a blockchain, and maybe they were feeling pressure on that too. And then Sergey said, "Hey guys, don't worry, we got you covered. We took a look at your architecture. We made sure that our software could basically just plug right into Swift, upgrade your technology so you don't have to worry about being disrupted. And all it's going to cost you is like a really small, few basis points on all the value that flows back and forth." And Swift says, "Yeah, we love that. Thank you very much. No longer do we risk being disrupted. No longer do we have 3 to 5 day clearing. We can do instant clearing." Same thing for clearing houses like DTCC, European clearing houses, private banks. So it's going to be like, if you think about the thing that connects everything and all messaging, all value, it's the glue to the entire network of blockchains. And nobody else is even close to anywhere on this level. It's not price feeds. And a lot of people think about Chainlink as price feeds, and that's why I kind of laughed when people were talking about Pyth as like a viable Chainlink competitor. It's not price feeds that are amazing.
So Craig handed me this piece of paper here, and he's saying, for Chainlink.
So
do you see a possible $1,000 just off your, remember, guys, again, this is Kyle's research. This is his, his beliefs on that. You can do your own research on that, but do you see it going that high?
Yeah, maybe not this bull run, because we need to see, I believe so. And it's definitely not unlikely that a lot of these protocols end up having valuations much higher than any company in the world, right? Like, these are not companies. This is infrastructure that runs the global network of things, right? So it's like if you could put a value on the internet, like what would it be, right? It would be exponentially higher than Apple or Amazon or Microsoft or anything. So when you look at something like Chainlink, I believe it'll be one of the most valuable protocols in the world, generating revenue, like literally generating massive amounts of revenue, because they're working with someone like DTCC, which in the United States clears quadrillions of dollars every year. And if you're earning fees, basis points on the value that's flowing through your network, then that's massive revenue generation. And if that massive revenue generation goes back into the token economy, then it makes all the sense in the world that this thing's going to be valued insane. So that's why I'm one of my
So
largest
would you
bags
say,
is Chainlink.
would you say it's obviously rallied up from $5, $15? Would you say we're still reasonably cheap?
Yes.
Would you say we're still at a good level to accumulate,
Extremely
especially for the
cheap.
long term?
Yeah, especially because right now the thing is that everything is in almost like a beta phase, or if you look at their website on the enterprise page, it's under intent, right? So when you look at their partnership with DTCC or Swift, the status is intent, meaning that they haven't flipped that switch to in progress. The second that it flips to in progress, we have the actual revenue generation kicks in. That's when the whole ecosystem kicks in, and that's when I just froze. Am I frozen on your end too?
You're slightly frozen. You're slightly frozen. Am I frozen?
I look very frozen.
Yeah, you are frozen. You are
maybe
frozen.
Let me just try this.
Let's see here. I can maybe bring you off and bring you on. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, you like this, bro? Yeah, you look like you're like on the dance floor. Let's see. Maybe we'll come back now. Let's have a look. Maybe just click that stop cam and put it back on, and let's see. Maybe it
okay.
It comes back. Let's see.
No, still frozen. What the hell? Let me try changing the camera to this one. Okay.
Oh, there we go. There we go. It still looks good.
Different camera. That works.
Still looks good. Cool. Let's quickly jump to the Do you want to go for it?
So yeah, just to end that thought. I think when you it's not often that I do extremely deep dives into things and have a lot of conviction. So I think that's one of my bigger videos of the year was of last year was when I put $1 million in a Chainlink at like $6.30 or something like that, and it was for me that's huge, right? That's a big chunk of my change. And you won't see me doing that with like other altcoins that we talk about or anything like that, right? It's just I actually sold some Bitcoin and Ethereum to move into Chainlink, and these are the things like my Bitcoin, my Chainlink, my Ethereum. They're things that I don't touch. You know what I mean? Like I've got Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Chainlink that I just put aside in I either use some of it in an Aave for this intelligent leverage, but a lot of it's on cold storage that I will never touch until Bitcoin's at $1 million, or that's like everywhere we're just using crypto seamlessly with our phone to tap and pay for things like that, So it's made it into its way of my never touch blue chip portfolio.
Nice. And what else? So the big one, obviously, I want to speak is Solana there too. You got Solana. You got obviously it's at $100 now. It ended up coming from $8 to $100. First question I have: is it still cheap? Is it overvalued? Secondly, do you think this could get to $500,000 sort of mark? And is this one of your blue chips? Is this one of you sitting on it, or is it a trade for you? What's your thoughts? So
Solana is a blue chip for sure, and I have a decent amount. It's probably maybe about a quarter of how much Chainlink I have, because and the reason is because and I have maybe about as much Sol as I do Ethereum, and I think Sol will probably outperform Ethereum this run, but I'm not thinking about either like Ethereum or Solana. Ethereum or Solana as a trade, really, right? They're just kind of like buy and hold.
It's $100 now. It obviously has gone, 10x from the lows.
Exactly.
And I think the question now is like people asking, should I take some profits? Will it be cheaper? And I think that's what would you say to those who got that $30, $40? Like, do you hold your position, like protect your entry, or would you, play the cycle and obviously take some profits, try to get it a bit cheaper? Like, where do you think we're at? Do you think Sol will ever go back down to those crazy levels?
No. I don't think so. Especially with the institutional attention that it's getting right now, like we talked about earlier with Franklin Templeton, and also you start to see big protocols. I think I'm not sure if Aave, I think Compound, like there's these governance proposals right now to move their entire economy over to Solana from Ethereum, which is massive, right? That is like massive signaling that some of these big protocols that have billions and billions of dollars of TVL are actually moving over to Solana. That's a really big deal. So, but I'll just say one thing. Like the reason why long term I'm much more bullish on something like Chainlink than Solana is because of its what I think Chainlink has a monopoly essentially on what its purpose is. There's a lot of competition for smart contract platforms, a lot of cheap and fast. There's a lot of cheap and fast. Even 𝗬𝗎 is going to start to kick off here pretty soon. You know, I made a video on that a couple weeks ago. It's one of the only ones that's been in the green all week. Cheap and fast. It's you know, every blockchain is gonna be cheap and fast right now. So I like to try to find unique things that are kind of picks and shovels and yet that's the last I'll say about Chainlink, but I just think it's quite unique in that regard, where it's just the one that has no competition.
Okay, fantastic, bro. I want to swing things now. I do want to speak a little bit about paid. So obviously we were hot. I think all of us were making a lot of content, 2020 sort of time. Things were hot, and you went a little bit quiet. And I'd love to know, you know, because when we had the conversation, I don't think a lot of people see it on that side. Like you were building, and you were like, I need to build infrastructure. I need to build things. Firstly, in that time, how did you spend your last 2 years? And I would love to know where we're at with paid at the moment. It's obviously had an incredible start to the year. Really doing good. I'm sure you're very happy with that at the moment. And it looks like, you know, we start, obviously I'm a chartist. I've truly just work off charts, and there's a bit of a resistance here, but we start getting through this little flow over here, and this bad boy can get going. Where are we at the moment with paid? And what did you do over the last 2 years? You know, what is your plan? What happened firstly to say, I'm going to sit down now and focus? And what did you get done?
So with paid before, there was no, and I think this is true with most launchpads, there is no cohesive ecosystem that's built in. There's no token economy. There's no real business model that's transparent on most of these launchpads. Most of the launchpads, their business model is stake our native token for a period of time, and that's going to drive some demand to the token, and then therefore, you know, that will be our short-term kind of reduction of circulating supply, right? But in the past 3 years, like I'm pretty obsessed with token economies and the way that economics work. I really like certain altcoins and protocols that have revenue driven back into the token ecosystem. If you look at something like Rollbit, for example, or you look at like Banana Gun, these protocols that have revenue share. So I wanted to build, and also we saw problems with the Launchpad before too. It had a scalability issues, right? We're all trying to solve the scalability issue. You have, how do you facilitate a larger audience? How do you accommodate more? You know, how do you do larger raises? We know that there's demand for larger raises. We saw a couple of weeks ago this project Grapes that raised $90 million. You know, in 2017, it was not uncommon that a project would raise a majority of their funds from the public. Like they would maybe either have a little bit of money from VCs, or they would just go straight to public sale and sell 50% of their tokens and raise $100 million or whatever. And so if you're building a token economy, if you're building a whole business model, that business model in any business should be to generate as much revenue as possible, right? And if that revenue is kept within that token economy and not into the founders' pockets, for example, like it is on most other launchpads, then you're going to have a really good business model. And so I wanted to build an economy that generated as much revenue as possible. And so the way that paid works essentially is that it's broken down that barrier of entry. Like literally, it requires you to have no paid tokens to come participate. And that means like there is millions of people around the world that live in third world countries that don't have thousands of dollars to invest. They've got $5 or $20 to invest maybe. And for those people, millions of people, they've never been able to participate in launchpads because they've always been priced out, right? If you go to a launchpad with $10, like you're not going to enter into a tier. You don't get a chance. So first of all, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of people who never get the opportunity to do these 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 X's that launchpads get to do in a bull run. Those are life-changing gains for anybody. And you get more distribution, right? So instead of having your tokens being sold to 10 VCs, you got 10 VCs holding 25% of your token supply ready to dump on retail, you actually get distribution to thousands or tens of thousands of people on a public sale. It's better for the long-term price of a token. So anyway, yeah, like you said, I went kind of quiet, and I told everyone that we were going to go back and figure out how to innovate, figure out how to scale, figure out how to build, do a better model. And there was a lot of people who thought that that we were just that paid was done for, and that's why you saw the price, go down 99.99% from an all-time high of $6 to a penny. And that's fine. Like we were okay with that, right? There was some very smart people who accumulated in that 1 cent price range. But I told people, I said, we're going to go back. We'll come back when time is right. And the response I've been getting from projects I talk to right now, they're really, really happy with the way that we've structured things. Like a lot of these projects that are high quality projects were not considering launchpads before. Why? Because most other launchpads are very valuation sensitive. They want to launch the project at a sub $500,000 circulating market cap, which means like 1% of tokens circulating, which means that they're forcing ultra low market caps. Why? Because these launchpads want to compete and say, we do more X's than you do, than you do, right? And a lot of projects that are good projects that had to that raise a bunch of that raise money, that need money because they're building AAA games or they're building disruptive cool shit, like they can't have these super valuation sensitive public sales, right? They need to be a little like, so we're not very valuation sensitive, which means that you might not see the same kind of artificial, superficial 50x vanity numbers that other launchpads have on paid. But I'm pretty sure that throughout the entirety of the bull run, you'll see a better, more sustainable chart on the projects that paid launches, right? Because it's not going to have super low float. You look at WorldCoin, right, which launched with 1%, and then of course, like that was not sustainable. So
I do like though, but I do like that you know what, obviously launched bull market, a lot of craze, a lot of that. I like that you went and stood back, worked on what you built, and came back at the right time. And I think that was a big thing. And me personally, I'm an investor, bro. I'm in paid at the moment. People could definitely go do their research on it. And I think yeah, I think we need to do a full show on it, actually. We actually in a little bit of chats about putting it in sniper school, bro. So I think that was one thing that you said that's important with it. In order to really get the value, you just got to understand a few things. And once you understand this, like what he's done here, guys, is he's given people that usually don't have the opportunity to get early investments and to get a part of that. Like, guys, that doesn't happen much. Like you don't have a lot of that, especially for $10, $20. Like this is a big thing, and it's for the people. And that's what I really like about it too, is it comes from a really good place. So I support you a lot on that, brother. I do have to wrap up, but what I do want to bring up over here is Kyle. Go follow his YouTube channel and get this thing to 100,000 subscribers fast, guys. Absolutely smash this. And then go follow him on Twitter as well. And make sure you are subscribed, because in the next probably 7 to 10 days, you will see a Sniper and Kyle show here.
Yes.
And we're going to Kyle's going to build us possibly. We'll see what he thinks, but he's going to build us a nice portfolio. And I'll chart the portfolio. We'll get entries. We'll get a little bit of a plan of what we're doing. But Kyle, I want to say thank you so much for joining, bro. Again, thank you for the trip. I wish Paid. I wish Commonwealth. Guys, you can go do your own research on these things. I wish you a lot of success this year. You're a good man, and I'm proud of you for what you're doing, bro. So thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Sheldon. Appreciate it a lot, man. Have a great day.
Thank you, my brother. Cheers, brother. Thank you, bro. Bye. Okay, ciao. Guys, I just want to also bring up quickly CoinW, guys. So we got CoinW. Obviously, no KYC needed there at the moment. But for the US citizens, we do have CoinW available for you guys. And this is right? They're celebrating the new year with a $12,000 worth of inscription tokens.
Yeah, so every time you put money in, you get an inscription token.
Oh, so every time you put money in, you get an inscription token. Okay, cool. Dive into the inscription market and claim your rewards. There's a pool of $12,000. And there's many of these tokens. We've got Order USDT, we've got RATs, we've got SATs. There's many of them, guys. So go below and join CoinW if you're looking for a really good exchange. And obviously now we have a lot of big opportunities coming our way. Guys, have a fantastic weekend. Pay attention to the weekly close. Pay attention to Bitcoin holding 40K. If we start losing it or start closing it, look at it as a big opportunity that you got mid-30s, right? Mid-30s to really scoop up some big prices. If it goes there, I don't think it's going to last long. So have some limit order set. Never be sad if price does come down, guys. It's more opportunities for when full bull goes. But nonetheless, bull market has started. And again, if we hold 40K, you know, pay attention to ETH to BTC. If that breaks up and Bitcoin obviously tries to attack that $49,000 again, look at things like Solana and Chainlink and Ethereum to absolutely explode. So guys, have a fantastic weekend. If you enjoy this type of content with getting guests on, getting their, you know, you hear me talk all the time, getting a little bit of their opinions. If you enjoy this content, hit the like button. Have a fantastic weekend. Much love.